Hello, ARRL members and QST readers worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, and I am the author of the Ask Dave column every month in QST. This is the supplemental video that goes with the October edition. In the first question and answer, I talked about different kinds of Morse code keys. I thought it might be interesting to look at some real ones and see what they look like. Here are some straight keys. Straight key means it's either on, which is down, or off, which is up. Okay, very simple. This key right here, the size and shape of it is now universal among a lot of keys. This is a key that helped win World War II. This is the J38. Now, these plugs here are often used to attach an extra set of headphones or something while people are learning. Normally you attach the wires here and here, and they're screw terminals that you can screw down on the wire when you put it in there. Now this has a key that goes up and down. It pivots right here, and you can adjust the wiggliness of the pivot with this and this. Here we've got the control that controls how far it goes up and down. And this one right here is the tension. And if you can see right in there, there are the contacts that make contact. Now in old radios, you might have some pretty high voltage on this key, but that's not done anymore. And it is simply operated up and down, down, up, down, up, down, up. This bar right here, which is part of the old Morse landline system or railroad telegraph, would short the key. Now, what that does is that it puts all the keys and all the sounders in series in a big loop. And you can then hear things on your sounder. If you do this, you open that line, you stop that, and then you send, and all the sounders along the line will send. So it's very important at the end for the railroad telegrapher to put this back. Now in ham radio, we don't use such a thing, but this is useful for older radios. If you're going to tune up, you just bring it over here. It's key down constantly, and you tune up. Most radios can't handle key down for too terribly long, so use that sparingly. These two right here are fairly modern keys. This one came from an outfit called cwmorse.us. Not .com, just .us. And it's made using 3D printing. This one you have to hold down or screw down. And it's got what's called a navy knob, which is a big flat area, and then this thing in the middle that you grab. The correct way to send with this is your elbow on the table, or in my case on the chair, and then do not touch the table with your wrist, because if you do, you'll just be going up and down from the wrist, and you'll get carpal tunnel syndrome. So we just press. Technically, you go down and you pull it up, down, up, so the spring is helping you. This is made by the same people, cwmorse.us. Actually was sold as an MFJ part number, MFJ566M. And it works the same way. You've got your pivot here. You've got a spring inside, which tension is adjusted right there. Okay, and the amount of travel right there, all adjustable. Each operator likes it different, and it works just like the other. Now, this is a very interesting key. It is a straight key, and let me tell you the story about it. I got this package from a guy in Finland. It says, Dave, many thanks for your YouTube series. It has inspired me to restart ham activity 20 years after I passed my test. I have thus far built a QCX kit, which is a 5-watt kit, Morse code only, and a micro BITX. The early ones of those were Morse only. And after lots of time in LCWO.net, I had my first CW QSO. I will never win any contest, but I'm having a blast. As a thank you, I'm sending you an old Soviet Union straight key. They were used for type R13 and R159 transceivers and were mounted either in slots on the top of the radio or on leg straps. And you can see the beveled edge here, which then would slide under something and it would be mounted there. Otherwise, you have to use it with your hand on top. Leg mounts are no longer available, so I improvised one as well as replacing the cable. Hope you get a chance to try it and tell us Augies what you think. It is no longer mil-spec, so don't jump out of airplanes with it. Have a fantastic autumn and keep up the good work. Signed by Jouni Hiltonen, Oscar Hotel 2, Golf Victor Delta. And thank you very much again for that. I did a video on this key quite some time ago. So there we've looked at very different types of straight keys. They all have one thing in common, something to press down. Note you don't do code like this. You do code by grabbing that and controlling both the up and the down. Okay? Now, let's look at some other keys. Now, these are what are called iambic paddles. These are not keyers, they're paddles. And the reason is because you need to insert a keyer. This is an open CW keyer I got, I think, on Amazon. You can get it as a kit or all together. It does a lot of things. It's got a menu item here. You can change the speed of the keying with this knob on the front. The open and set are to set the memories the way you want them. 1 is memory 1, 2 is memory 2. And so if you're transmitting and you want to send just CQ, CQ, or CQ contest, you can put that in memory 1. And then when you acknowledge the other call sign, you can then send the details of the contact using memory 2. So a lot of CW keyers have a lot more memories. Now, I will tell you that all modern radios have built-in keyers. And like on the Icon 7300, if you push the Vox/break-in button while in CW mode, Vox only works on voice. So you get the break-in. There's 3 ways you can do that on the 7300. None at all, which means it won't transmit anything until you press the transmit button. Number 2, regular or slightly delayed break-in, and second, very fast break-in. I would normally use this with a break-in. I like just a little pause without the receiver coming at me. Okay, so this, when break-in is turned on, will cause the transmitter to transmit. This one right here is a Venture BY1. It has a long spring. The contacts are here and here. Okay, you contact them underneath by this. And note that this right here is a little what's called a fun stock clip that holds a little Allen wrench. Now when you press on this paddle, it causes contact to be made here. When you press on this paddle, it causes contact to be made. And because you're stretching the spring so little, it gets very light action. And here it pivots on different things in here, and you can set where the spring is by looking at this right here. It will allow you to set how much the spring travels if you want to adjust the factory settings. I have not had any reason to reset the factory settings on this. This weighs a bunch because this base is made of steel. And so when you make your letters, it doesn't move around. Now, I have seen people move that thing around like this, but it's pretty heavy. This is a little keyer, again made by CW Morse. And the question is, which side is right up? Well, this goes on the bottom. And there are 2 paddles in there like that you can see. And it works exactly the same way. It does not have the same feel. No, it's a different feel, but it works. And you plug in the cable that goes directly to the transceiver in the back. This one right here, I believe it's also made by C.W. Morse. It's got a heavy piece of, I think that must be steel because it's quite heavy. And you can take the top off and see what's inside. Now the actual contacts are to the center pole. Okay, so the red is the right paddle, the white is the left paddle. Okay, and this keeps the dust off of all that. Now this right here is moving from the low end, the middle end, to the high end. These are Vibroplex, is the longest lasting name in ham radio. Now this plugs in either directly to your rig or to an external keyer. You put the paddle in here. Now you have to supply this with 5 volts. We'll take this, it's not a USB-C like it should be, but I happen to have the cable that fits into there. High is what it says. So, and I'm going to put this up here near the microphone. There's a missing foot on the bottom. Now you'll note that if I'm pushing this and I hit this, throws in the dash, and vice versa. Okay, and notice that I could send 0 in my call sign, which is 5 dashes, just by holding it down. Okay, or I, or S, or H, or 5. Okay, and E, of course. You can do T with that. 2 is M, 3 is O, and so on. You can do some of the letters extremely easily. And notice what does the work. The thumb and the side of the forefinger, or if you want that, but I think you'll be better off this way. There's really very little movement. This can really help a radiotelegraphist avoid damage to their hands. So what we have seen here are 4 paddles. These are called paddles. Now, can you get one with just one paddle? Yes, you can, but you kind of defeat the purpose of the iambic keying. Now, it is possible that if you were to connect the radio into the keyer, you can hear the radio sounding its side tone in addition to the fixed side tone that is in here. By the way, on all modern radios, if you tuned that tone so that the incoming station is giving you that tone, then you'll be right matched on their frequency. So there you have it. We've taken a look at 8 different Morse code keys. 4 are straight keys. 2 are sets of paddles that have to be used with the keyer, either external to the radio or internal to the radio. Nearly all modern radios have built-in keyers, so you don't have to deal with this little thing, although you can. This was only about $30 or $40 on eBay. There are all kinds of keyers. This is a very simple one. And what that I got was I had a question from somebody who wanted to know how to practice iambic keying, but not on the air. So I told her about this. It's mentioned in the video, and told her that if she got that, so you can practice with any of those if you want to do that. If you've got a modern radio, you just turn the break-in off and it'll make the sound, but it won't go over the air. So there you have it, a look at some different types of keys. Which key you want is highly particular to you. I would start out with either a Ward Surplus J38, which is a very nice key, or something simple like the ones from cwmorse.us. Then you can graduate to iambic paddle sets. It's called iambic because if you hold both keys together, you get da 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 da, and you do 5 groups of that, and that's an iambic pentameter. So that's a form in poetry, and some will tell you for sure the code is indeed poetry. So I hope you enjoyed that. Gives you a little bit guide to what you're looking for if you want to jump into CW. I encourage you to do that. If you'd like to learn, I recommend the Koch method, K-O-C-H. Find that on the internet and download it. It's a piece of software that runs on your computer. Or you can contact the Long Island CW Club, which you might do after you've gotten to the point where you've memorized all the letters but can't quite get them fast enough. And they will assign to you a coach who will work with you in real time. All very convenient. Great way to learn the code. And I have heard nothing but outstanding reports from people who have worked with the Long Island CW Club. So, there you have it. Until we next meet, 73.